In this super cool bonus lesson, I want to show you guys how you can take this image of Hubert outside of Houdini. Because if we want to, let's say, take this redshift render as a 32-bit image, the process is not very straightforward. So, I'm going to assume here that you're not working in a studio, that you're just a solo 3D artist who wants to send out a good render, okay? If you are working in a studio, you don't want to have any of this color management happening at all. You would want to save that for the comp department, or you would want to do that in Nuke or Fusion, something like that, rather than Houdini. So in other words, if you're sending this out, you would want to do so with scene referred data, no color correction applied at all. But assuming that that's not your case, we just want to export what we see right here. This is how you do it. So first of all, in the redshift output right here, we need to be sure that all of these settings are being applied to the 32-bit image. So we go here to the color LUT controls, and we do that for mplay as well as the HDR files color management. I'm not so sure what the deal is with Arnold or V-Ray or RenderMan. I'm sure there might be something similar, but just double check to make sure that all of these post effects, if the render engine has them, is coming with the EXR, okay? So I have this render now of Hubert Test EXR. Let's drag this over to Affinity Photo. So things look a little bit wonky right away, and the reason why is because, remember, the application is going to apply its own color transformation with 32-bit images. The difference between an 8 or a 16 versus a 32-bit image is that the 32-bit image cannot embed the ICC profiles. That's really, really important. So in Affinity Photo, we have this section called 32-bit preview. This is where that color management gets applied on top of the information in the linear file. Now, if we take a look at the unmanaged file, this is exactly what we want. So Redshift spit out this render right here that is, again, exactly what we want, but it's unmanaged right now. In other words, we're not applying any gamma to this. So that's all fine and dandy, but eventually you don't want to stay in 32-bit. Eventually you might want to make this an 8-bit image or something that has a lower file size, right? So to do that, we go to Edit, or actually Document here, Convert Format, or ICC Profile, and we say, let's say RGB 16. And we go here and we select this 2.1, right? Be sure that you do 16, because I'll show you here in a second why. But we do this, we need to apply some kind of ICC profile because we're out of 32-bit now, and by default that's going to be this sRGB. Well, the problem here is that now we've applied gamma on top of gamma. So one of the best ways that I found in Affinity Photo to do this is to go up to Layer, New Live Filter Layer, and we're going to go to Colors, Procedural, Texture. This whole thing's pretty hidden in this whole thing, but basically, Live Procedural Texture, we're going to make 3 operations for R, G, and B. We're going to say that R is going to be to the power of 2.2, and that will apply a 2.2 gamma curve, bringing things down, right? Okay, and after saying RGB 2.2, we are now back to where we started. So that got rid of that ICC information. Now, from here, if you want to go to an 8-bits, you can do so, and it's not going to cause you any issues now. So that is how you might go about this. Now, in Photoshop, it does not currently support OCIO at all. You won't find OCIO in there. It doesn't know about it. It doesn't think about it. From my understanding anyway, this, again, is all active development that could change. But to make a long story short, we have this LUT provided by Alex Fry, which will get rid of that ICC transform. And if you use that in conjunction with a plugin here that's specified in this link, So this OpenColor IO plugin, that will give you what you need in Photoshop to achieve the same thing. Just remember, in Photoshop, it's only going to use this ICC display transform. It's not smart enough to either show you the unmanaged or the OCIO display transform like this. So you need to get rid of that sRGB transform, and the best way to do that, again, is through that LUT. So check out those links if you want to figure this out in Photoshop. And there you go. That's what it takes to take a still image from Houdini Redshift, bring it over to Affinity Photo or Photoshop, and get the same results once you get down to the 8-bit image. I should also mention that if you save out a JPEG or a PNG directly from Redshift, that will also take care of all this for you. But you don't have that 32-bit editing capability, which is really nice if you want to fix some clipped highlights or whatever, right? So I do recommend going through that 32-bit workflow. And as always, these things are in constant development, especially when it comes to ACES, OCIO. This is a hot topic for developers. So I'm sure by now there might be new workflows, new ways of doing things. But at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is say that we want to take that scene referred data and apply the ACES OCIO gamma curve once. Nothing else, no ICCs, not twice, right? We just want to apply that gamma once. That's our goal. So if anything changes, always keep that in mind. Well, I think that'll do it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.